quality is clearly beyond its price point. It's an amazing value for money, one to buy by the truckload, exclamation point. You know who said that? Generally kind of boring, tasty, notey Luis Gutierrez from robertparker.com. You know, and the thing is, Luis, we call him a bit of a sadist. You know, he likes those wines that are like really super lean. He likes those reds that are razor sharp and you know, you know, this verticality, these wines that really hum and almost like a little tanky and zippy, and yeah, he loves that shit. Like, he's completely down with that style, which is kind of in vogue in Spain right now. And I get it. Everyone's got their thing. Everyone loves their style of wine, so I'm not going to hate. But generally, what he doesn't go for as much, from what I can tell, is wines like this, like Evodia. But I think he senses the spirit behind this wine. So let's get to it. Evodia, I think we've talked about Evodia in the past. This is the project from Eric Solomon, and I believe it was Jean Marc Lafarge that was going down there and working with Eric Solomon to produce a Garnacha of the highest quality. The old story, you know, Eric's had a wine called Las Rocas, which became a very big deal, like the 2001 vintage that, you know, Robert Parker had these huge tasty notes on it. It was like a $12 wine that got 94 points. It was unprecedented. Phones rang off the hook. We sold like 2 pallets of wine in 2 days before the interwebs, and it was really something phenomenal. He carried that brand through for about probably 10 years or so, and then I think Gallo bought the brand, and Eric Solomon was like, okay, sounds good to me. And for whatever reason, Gallo did not have him sign a non-compete. So he was able to actually go back to the same winery where he produced Las Rocas and say, I want to make a new wine. I want it to be from your winery. I also want it to be 100% Grenache. I also want it to be from old vines. I also want it to be from vineyards sourced in high elevations in Calatayud. And I also wanted da-da-da. And they were like, okay. And apparently Gallo didn't have an issue with it. Book it. And in the end, we have Evodia. This was his new one. This is what him and Jean Marc put together. And basically what this is definitely like a more nuanced, more mineral version of that Las Rocas wine. So he made the big wine from Calatayud. That's what Las Rocas was. This wine was like, boom. And now he knew he wanted to develop some nuance into the Garnacha from Calatayud, which, when you talk to a lot of folks, this is the true pure Garnacha. This is the ground zero for Garnacha, for Grenache and Chateauneuf, for all of it. When people, the Calatayud, the Grenache grown in this area is it. This is the ancestral home of true Grenache. Oh. And he had a lot of material to work with. You know, the folks at San Alejandro, these guys have a ton of material that they have access to. All different vine ages, elevations, soil types, etc. So a gentleman like Eric and Jean Marc and his winemaking team now can really go in and kind of create their own sandwich. You know what I mean? Like, you know, when you're at the Subway, you're like, I'm just gonna have a couple pepperoncinis. Hey, you know, can I just get one slice of the pepper jack and maybe one slice? He gets to do that in the winery, at this cooperative winery, and produce the exact wine that he wants. And the winery's always stoked because he always makes one of the best wines out of their cellar. Mostly done in concrete. About 20% older oak barrels. Is that right? 20 or 10%, and then 10% larger oak vats. So about 70% of it's done in concrete, as it should. Garnacha loves concrete. Grenache loves concrete. It is a perfect aging vessel for this grape variety that is prone to oxidation in the cellar and must be handled very tightly, but not in an, I don't think, overtly reductive type state where the wine gets all tanky and funky on you. But generally Grenache won't do that. It likes being kind of like, you know, tucked in. You know, Garnacha likes the sheets folded underneath it. You know, like when you did with your kids, you kind of make like little burritos out of them. You know, Grenache is like a little like red wine burrito in the cellar. That makes perfect sense, right? That was amazing. That was like Jancis Robinson level shit right there, right? Yeah, that's pretty incredible. Okay, let's get to it. Grenache, and now this one though's got a little more color, a little more something to it. The high elevation vineyards, they'll fix color better than the lower elevation vineyards because they're fresher. They have naturally lower pHs, higher acidity. And with that, you get that brighter, more purpley color out of Garnacha. just beautiful. This wine's got weight, okay? This wine has gravitas. And for a wine at this price point, we haven't told you the price yet, but some of you already know because you've bought this from us for a decade. But for a wine at this price point, the weight and the gravitas and the aromatics is really, really something. Incredible intensity of fruit. Dude, this bottle's even more rocking than the last one. This is beautiful Grenache. And the clarity of the Grenache flavor reminds me of some of these great Grenache wines from not just from Spain, but from like Côte d'Rhône on steroids, but from a cooler site in the Rhône, or even some of those really top-notch Australian Grenache wines. I know I said Australian, no, this doesn't taste like Shiraz, stop. But like, you know, Grenache is all the rage in Australia right now too. But for these kind of like mid-weight styles that just deliver this wonderful purity of Grenache fruit character, that cran raspberry character on the finish is just in abundance here. It is a striking, striking bottle of wine for $11.98. You know, to get 60, 70, 80-year-old vine Grenache grown at this level from these soils, from the hometown of Grenache, vinified by a conscientious team and put in the bottle and then selling for $11.98, you see kind of like, it just begs the question, like, why not others? You know, why aren't there more people doing this? I don't know, couldn't tell you. I'm not the economics guy. All I do know is that this is one of the best bottles of Grenache on the planet, especially for the money. A no-brainer purchase. This is a wine you will drink Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you will drink maybe just have a glass and a half or something, or maybe 2 glasses, but don't drink more than 2 glasses. 92 points from Luis, who gave you that great tasting note. That dude does not throw those types of tasting notes out there. He was definitely floored by the wine. I am overjoyed by the wine. The Evodia 2023 Garnacha, $11.98 a bottle. Incredible wine for the money. Click and buy this wine. Like me and subscribe. Bye.